Emma Parker had 90 seconds to decide. Stay hidden and survive, or risk everything for a stranger's kid. For 5 months, she'd survived Phoenix by being invisible. But what happened when she chose to be seen would trigger the largest Hells Angels mobilization Arizona had witnessed in a decade. And the part nobody saw coming? The homeless girl everyone ignored had just photographed evidence that would destroy a decorated cop's empire. Hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, because what Emma did with nothing but a $6 disposable camera and 90 seconds of courage will change how you see the invisible people around you. Don't you move, kid. You tell anyone what you saw and I'll make sure you disappear. The voice cut through the July night like a blade. Emma Grace Parker pressed herself flatter against the dumpster enclosure wall, barely breathing, her heart hammering so hard she was sure someone would hear it. 10:47 p.m. Desert Rose truck stop. Mile marker 147 on Interstate 10. 40 minutes outside Phoenix, Arizona. 115 degrees at sunset. Still 98 degrees now, the kind of heat that turned metal surfaces into brands and made breathing feel like inhaling sand. Emma had been sleeping in the dumpster enclosure for 3 nights. Not in the dumpsters, she wasn't that desperate yet, but in the narrow space behind them, where the afternoon shadow provided maybe 4 hours of shade. Where the truck stop staff didn't check. Where she could hide from the sun that had already given her second-degree burns on her shoulders and turned her pale skin angry red. 5 months. She'd been homeless in Phoenix for 5 months. Ever since aging out of foster care at 18 with $347 in her pocket, a GED certificate, and exactly 0 people who gave a damn whether she lived or died. The system had been clear. Turn 18, you're out. Good luck. Figure it out. Emma had tried, applied to 63 jobs, got rejected by all of them because she had no permanent address, no references, no work history worth mentioning, slept in her car until it got repossessed, stayed in a shelter until it hit capacity and she got waitlisted, started sleeping outside because the July heat made indoor spaces without AC more dangerous than the streets. She'd learned the rules fast. Stay invisible. Don't make eye contact. Don't ask for help because help doesn't come. Move before sunrise, hide during peak heat, scavenge after dark. Survive. That's what she'd been doing tonight. Surviving. Staying invisible. Until she heard the sound of a fist hitting flesh. Emma peered through a gap in the chain-link fence, separating the dumpster enclosure from the delivery alley. 20 feet away, under the yellow glow of a security light, a man in police uniform had a kid pinned against the brick wall. The boy looked maybe 13. Skinny, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt, blood streaming from his nose. His phone lay on the ground, screen shattered. The cop, tall, built, maybe late 30s, had his forearm pressed across the kid's throat. You don't tell anyone what you saw. Understand? Your daddy's a criminal. Who's gonna believe a biker's kid over a decorated officer? The boy choked out. I'll tell. The cop's fist connected with the boy's ribs. The sound made Emma flinch. The boy doubled over, gasping. You'll tell nothing. Because if you do, I'll arrest your father on charges that'll stick. Manufacturing, distribution, conspiracy. I'll make sure he goes away for 20 years. And you? You'll end up in the system. Foster care. You know what happens to kids in the system? Emma knew. She knew exactly what happened. The cop pulled the boy up by his collar. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna walk back inside that truck stop. You're gonna tell your daddy you fell. Clumsy kid. Happens all the time. And you're gonna forget you ever saw me tonight. Got it? The boy nodded weakly. Blood dripped from his chin. Good boy. The cop released him. The boy stumbled, barely caught himself, started limping toward the alley exit. Emma's hands were shaking. Her breath came in short gasps. Every instinct screamed, "Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't let him know you're here." But her fingers found the disposable camera in her backpack. The one she'd bought at a gas station 2 months ago, $5.99, at a clearance bin, the only possession she owned that wasn't about pure survival. She'd been taking photos of Arizona sunsets, of interesting shadows, of moments that made her feel like she was still human and not just invisible trash. 22 exposures left. The cop was checking his phone now, his back partially turned. The boy limping away. The security light illuminating everything. Evidence. If she took photos, if she captured this, if someone believed her. But who would believe a homeless girl over a cop? And if the cop saw her, if he realized she'd witnessed, "You tell anyone, and you're dead, kid." That's what he'd said. And he'd meant it. Emma had seen it in his eyes. This wasn't a threat. It was a promise. She had maybe 90 seconds before the cop left. Before the moment passed. Before the evidence disappeared. 90 seconds to choose between survival and something she couldn't even name. Emma raised the camera. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold it steady. She found the gap in the fence. Framed the shot. The cop in uniform. The boy's blood on the concrete. The smashed phone. She pressed the shutter. Flash. The sound in the quiet alley was like a gunshot. The cop's head snapped up. "Who's there?" Emma didn't think, didn't plan. Just ran. Out of the enclosure, away from the alley, her worn-out sneakers slapping concrete. Behind her, the cop shouting, "Stop! Police! I said stop!" She rounded the corner. The truck stop parking lot stretched out. 18-wheelers lined up like steel walls, diesel smell thick, fluorescent lights cutting harsh shadows. Emma dove between 2 trucks, crawled underneath the trailer, pressed herself flat against the still warm asphalt. Footsteps, heavy, methodical. The cop searching. "I know you're out here. Might as well come out now. Make this easier on yourself." Emma's heart was trying to break through her ribs. She'd left her backpack behind. Everything she owned, sleeping bag, water bottles, the few clothes that fit her 92-pound frame, all of it back in the dumpster enclosure. But the camera was in her hand. 4 photos taken. Evidence. If she survived the next 5 minutes. The cop's boots appeared 10 feet away. Black leather. Polished. He was checking between trucks. Methodically. Getting closer. Emma forced herself to breathe slowly. Silently. She'd learned this skill in foster homes where being heard at night meant being found. Where invisibility was survival. A voice called out from the truck stop entrance. "Cole, you out here?" The boots stopped. "Yeah, thought I saw something. Probably just a coyote." "Well, get your ass inside. Dispatch is looking for you. Domestic disturbance on Route 60. "Copy that." The boots turned. Walked away. Emma waited. Counted to 300. 5 minutes. Then slowly, carefully, crawled out from under the truck. The delivery alley was empty now. No cop. No boy. Just blood on the concrete and a smashed phone the cop had left behind. Emma ran back to the dumpster enclosure, grabbed her backpack, shoved the camera deep inside, wrapped in a t-shirt for protection. Then she heard it. Soft crying. coming from near the parking lot entrance. The boy, sitting on the curb, holding his ribs, blood still streaming from his nose. Emma should have walked away, should have stayed invisible. The cop was gone. The boy would be fine. Someone would help him. Except no one was helping him. Truckers walked past. Families headed to their cars. A woman glanced at the bleeding kid, frowned, kept walking. Because that's what people did. They walked past. They looked away. They decided it wasn't their problem. The way they'd been walking past Emma for 5 months. She found herself moving toward him, not planning it, not thinking it through, just acting. "Hey." Her voice came out hoarse. She hadn't spoken to anyone in 3 days. "You okay?" The boy looked up. 13, maybe 14. Light brown skin, dark eyes wide with pain and fear. He wore a silver chain around his neck, some kind of pendant she couldn't make out. He tried to stand. His legs gave out. "I need to get to my dad. He's inside. Trucker's lounge." "You're bleeding pretty bad. We should call—" "No cops." The boy's voice was sharp, terrified. "Please, no cops." He said if I tell anyone, I know what he said. Emma knelt beside him. "I saw." The boy's eyes went wide. "You saw?" "I was in the dumpster enclosure. I saw everything." She pulled a semi-clean t-shirt from her backpack. "Here, for your nose." He took it, pressed it against his face. "Did he see you? He heard my camera flash, chased me, but I don't think he saw my face." "Camera?" The boy lowered the shirt. "You took pictures?" "4 of them, before he noticed." For exactly 3 seconds, the boy just stared. Then, "Do you know what you just did?" "Probably something stupid." "No." A weird light came into his eyes, like hope mixed with disbelief. "You just saved my life, and maybe my dad's, and—" He winced. "Can you help me inside? I need to find my father. Jackson Brooks, goes by Hawk. He's wearing a leather vest, Hell's Angels patch." Emma froze. "Your dad's a Hell's Angel?" "Vice President. Phoenix chapter." The boy tried to stand again. Made it this time, barely. "That cop? Derek Cole. He's dirty. On cartel payroll. I saw him taking money from a dealer in the parking lot. $15,000 in cash. He saw me watching. That's why he—" He gestured at his face. "Jesus." "I'm DJ. Well, Dylan, but everyone calls me DJ." He swayed. Emma caught him. For a 92-pound homeless girl, supporting a 13-year-old boy was harder than it should have been. But she managed. "I'm Emma, and yeah, let's get you to your dad before you pass out." They limped toward the truck stop entrance, Emma supporting DJ, his blood soaking through her shirt. Every eye in the parking lot tracking them now, the homeless girl and the bleeding kid. Emma pushed through the glass door. Cold air hit like a wall. The truck stop kept the AC at 68 degrees, and her heat-exhausted body reacted like she'd been plunged into ice water. The trucker's lounge was to the left. 20 tables, maybe 40 people. Truck drivers, families, a few motorcyclists in the corner booth. And there, in the back corner, 6 men wearing black leather vests with the Hell's Angels patch. Bottom rocker reading Phoenix. DJ's voice was barely a whisper. That's my dad." The man he pointed to was 6'2", broad shoulders, tattoo sleeves down both arms, beard trimmed neat, 40, maybe 45. He was mid-conversation with another brother, laughing at something, coffee cup halfway to his mouth. Then he saw DJ. The coffee cup hit the table. Jackson Hawk Brooks was moving before Emma could blink, crossing the lounge in seconds, dropping to his knees in front of his son. DJ, Jesus Christ. What happened? Dad, DJ's legs finally gave out completely. His father caught him, held him, and Emma saw something in that moment that hurt more than any beating she'd ever taken in foster care. Pure, unconditional love. A father terrified for his son. Who did this? Hawk's voice was deadly calm. The other 5 Hell's Angels were already standing, already moving to surround them. DJ, who hurt you? Officer Cole, the cop who we saw at the rally last month. He's dirty, Dad. I saw him taking money. He saw me. He said, DJ's voice broke. He said he'd make you disappear. Said he'd make sure I ended up in the system. Hawk's jaw clenched. His eyes went to Emma. Who are you? Nobody. I helped him walk inside. You're bleeding. He gestured at her shirt. That his blood or yours? His. I was nearby. Saw what happened. Nearby where? DJ answered before Emma could. She was in the dumpster area, Dad. She took pictures. 4 of them. Of Cole beating me. Every Hell's Angel in that corner went still. Hawk's eyes locked onto Emma with an intensity that made her want to run. You took pictures, he said slowly, of a cop assaulting my son. Yeah, I had a camera. I didn't think, Where's the camera now? Emma hesitated. 5 months of survival instinct screamed, don't give anyone anything. Trust no one. But DJ was looking at her with those eyes that said, please, and Hawk was holding his bleeding son, and she pulled the disposable camera from her backpack, held it out. Hawk didn't take it immediately, just stared at her, really looked at her, saw the sunburn, the too thin frame, the dirty clothes, the backpack that held everything she owned. How long you been on the streets? He asked quietly. 5 months. You got family? Friends? Somewhere to go tonight? No. But you saw my son in danger and you still helped. Not a question. A statement. Why? Emma looked at DJ, at this kid who was bleeding because a corrupt cop wanted to silence a witness, at this father who clearly loved his son more than anything. Because nobody helped me, she said simply, and I'm tired of being the person who walks past. For exactly 5 seconds, nobody moved. Then Hawk stood, still holding DJ with one arm, extended his other hand toward Emma. Give me the camera. I need to get this developed. Then I need to know everything you saw. Emma handed it over. He called himself Cole. Officer Derek Cole, Phoenix PD. He told DJ that if he talked, he'd arrest you, that he'd make DJ end up in foster care. Something dangerous flickered in Hawk's eyes. Derek Cole? Yeah. I know him. Officer of the Year, community outreach, real pillar of the goddamn community. He turned to the brothers. Reaper, get my bike. We're taking DJ to St. Joseph's Hospital. Wire, I need you to stay here. Get contact info from... He looked at Emma. What's your name? Emma. Emma Parker. Get contact info from Emma. Make sure she's got food, water, somewhere safe tonight. Ghost, call priest. Tell him we need church. Emergency. Every brother available. The men moved immediately. No questions. Just action. Hawk looked at Emma again. You just made yourself a target. You know that, right? Cole sees your face, figures out you witnessed what went down. He'll come after you. I know. So here's what's gonna happen. You're not sleeping in any dumpster tonight. You're not sleeping on any street. You're coming with us, club protection, until we figure out what to do with Cole and those photos you took. I don't need... Yeah, you do. And Emma? His voice dropped lower. My son would be dead if you'd stayed hidden. Dead or disappeared into whatever hole Cole was planning to throw him in. You didn't have to help. You did anyway. That means something to us. That means you're ours now. Blood debt. You understand? Emma didn't understand. Didn't understand any of this. 5 months of being invisible. And now suddenly she was standing in a truck stop with Hell's Angels promising protection because she'd taken 4 photographs. But DJ was looking at her like she'd hung the moon. And Hawk was waiting for an answer. And the other brothers were already treating her like she mattered. Like she was visible. Okay, Emma whispered. Okay. Good. Hawk started walking toward the exit, carrying DJ. Paused. Wire, get her whatever she needs from the truck stop. Food, water, clean clothes if they got 'em. Put it on my tab. Emma, you stick close to him. Don't go anywhere alone. Cole might still be around, and if he ID'd you— I got her, Hawk, the brother called Wire said. 31 years old, lean build, wearing glasses under his bandana. He looked at Emma with something like respect. You just preserved evidence that might take down the most corrupt cop in Phoenix PD. That took guts. It took a $6 camera and not thinking things through, Emma said. Wire laughed. Best decisions usually do. Come on, let's get you fed and cleaned up. Then we got work to do. As they walked toward the truck stop convenience section, Emma caught sight of herself in a mirror. Sunburned. Filthy. Wearing clothes 3 sizes too big that she'd found in a donation bin. Looking every bit like the homeless girl society had decided to ignore. But for the first time in 5 months, someone was looking at her like she mattered. Like she was worth protecting. Like she was a hero instead of trash. Emma Parker had spent 5 months surviving by being invisible. Now, with 4 photographs and 1 choice to help a stranger's kid, she'd just become the most visible person in Phoenix. And Officer Derek Cole, decorated cop, community pillar, cartel enforcer, was about to learn that the most dangerous witness isn't the one with power. It's the one with nothing left to lose, St. Joseph's Hospital, 11:34 p.m. DJ was getting stitches for the gash above his eyebrow when Wire walked into the waiting room carrying a manila envelope that would change everything. Photos are developed, Wire said, sitting beside Emma on the plastic chairs. You want to see what you got? Emma's hands shook as she opened the envelope. 4 4x6 prints slid out. Photo 1. Officer Derek Cole in full Phoenix PD uniform, badge visible, taking a stack of cash from a man in a red Mercedes. Clear shot. Unmistakable. Photo 2. Cole counting the money, his face in profile. The Mercedes' license plate visible in the background. Photo 3. DJ standing 20 feet away, cell phone raised like he was filming. Cole's head turning toward him. The exact moment the cop realized he'd been witnessed. Photo 4. Cole advancing on DJ, fist already raised, the boy backing away, fear captured in frozen time. Jesus, Wire breathed. Emma, these are federal prosecution level evidence. You got his face, his badge number, the money exchange, DJ as witness, and the assault, all in 4 shots. Is it enough? Emma asked. To arrest him? To arrest him? Yeah. To convict him? Wire pulled out his phone, started taking photos of the photos. I need to dig deeper, find out how deep Cole's corruption goes, because a cop doesn't just take a one-time bribe. This is a pattern, and patterns mean more victims. Emma looked at the photos, at DJ's terrified face in that final shot. He said DJ would disappear, that he'd make sure he ended up in the system. He wasn't bluffing. No, he wasn't. Wire's voice was grim. which means he's done this before. Silenced witnesses. Made people disappear. We just have to prove it. Hawk appeared in the doorway. DJ's stable. Mild concussion, broken nose, cracked rib. They want to keep him overnight for observation. He looked at Wire. The photos? Wire handed them over. Watched Hawk's face go from concerned to furious to coldly calculating. Priest is calling church for 6 a.m., Hawk said. Every brother in Arizona. This goes beyond club business now. This is about a dirty cop who beats children and works for cartels. He looked at Emma. You're gonna need to tell your story, all of it, to about 200 men who are going to want every detail. Emma swallowed. Okay. You scared? Terrified. Good. That means you're smart. Hawk sat down across from her. But Emma, you need to understand something. The moment you took these photos, the moment you helped my son, you stopped being invisible. Cole's going to figure out who you are. He's going to come after you. And we're going to make sure he never gets close. How? By destroying him first. 6:14 a.m. Hell's Angels. Phoenix Clubhouse. Converted warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The parking lot was filled with motorcycles. 198 of them, by Wire's count. Brothers from Phoenix, Tucson, Flagstaff, even a few from New Mexico who'd ridden through the night. Emma sat in a back office with Patricia Doc Vasquez, the club's only female officer. 46 years old, former Army nurse. She'd given Emma clean clothes, jeans and a t-shirt that actually fit. Fed her breakfast, real food, eggs and toast and orange juice. Treated the second-degree sunburn on her shoulders. How long since you ate a real meal? Doc asked, watching Emma devour the food. 3 days. There's a soup kitchen on 5th Street, but they only serve dinner, and the line's always so long. You're malnourished, dehydrated. You've got heat stroke scarring. Emma, another month like this and you'd be an organ failure. Emma set down her fork. I know. There's no way out. No job without an address. No apartment without a job. No shelter space because I'm 19 and not priority. I've been on a housing wait list for 4 months. I'm number 247. Doc's hand covered Emma's. You're not on that wait list anymore. You're under club protection now. That means housing, food, medical care. Until we fix this. Why? Why would you do all this for me? Because you saved Hawk's son. Because you risked your life to get evidence. And because nobody should be invisible. Doc stood. Come on, church is starting. You need to tell your story. The main room held 200 men in leather vests, all wearing the Hell's Angels patch. All waiting. At the head of the table sat Victor Priest Dalton, 61 years old, former Marine, club president. He gestured Emma forward. Brothers, this is Emma Parker, 19 years old, homeless for 5 months. Last night at 10:47 p.m., she witnessed Officer Derek Cole assault DJ Brooks. While Cole was threatening DJ, Emma took 4 photographs that prove Cole is on cartel payroll and willing to murder witnesses. Priest's voice carried authority without volume. Emma, tell us what you saw. Emma's voice shook at first. But as she described the alley, the beating, the threat, the chase, her voice steadied. These men were listening. Really listening. When she finished, Priest laid out the photos. 200 men leaned forward to see. Wire's been digging into Cole's background all night, Priest said. Tell them what you found. Wire stood. Laptop open. Derek Cole, Phoenix PD for 12 years. Officer of the Year 2022. Clean record. Community Outreach Coordinator. DARE Program Leader. He paused. But his bank records tell a different story. The screen behind him lit up with a spreadsheet. Cole may make $68,000 a year as a patrol officer, but in the last 18 months, he's deposited $144,000 in cash into his personal account. Deposits of $8,000 every month, like clockwork, plus irregular deposits ranging from $3,000 to $15,000. Silence in the room. "That's not overtime," Wire continued. "That's payroll. He's being paid by someone. And based on the patterns, I can trace it back 3 years. Total unexplained income, approximately $312,000. "Jesus," someone muttered. "It gets worse." Wire clicked to the next slide. 7 arrests in the past 2 years where Cole was the arresting officer. All Hells Angels members or associates, all on charges that were later dismissed or reduced due to insufficient evidence or procedural errors. I think Cole was planting evidence, making arrests to maintain his cover as a legitimate cop while actually targeting our club. Hawk spoke up. "Ghost got arrested 14 months ago. Drug trafficking. Cole was the arresting officer. Found 2 kilos of cocaine in Ghost's saddlebag during a routine traffic stop. Ghost swore he was clean, that someone planted it. Case was dismissed when the evidence mysteriously disappeared from the evidence locker." "Cole was working the evidence room that week," Wire added. "I checked." Priest's face was stone. "So Cole's been systematically targeting our club while working for the cartels, making arrests that don't stick to make himself look legitimate while actually clearing competition for his employers. That's my theory. And DJ witnessing the money exchange last night, that threatened to expose the whole operation." "Which is why Cole tried to silence him permanently," Hawk said, voice deadly quiet. "And why he'll try to silence Emma if he figures out who she is," Wire added. Every eye in the room turned to Emma. She felt their weight, their protection, and something else: respect. "Brothers," Priest said, "normally we handle our own justice, but this situation requires careful strategy. Cole is a cop. Going after him directly gives Phoenix PD an excuse to come after the entire club. We do this smart. We do this legal. We destroy him through the system he corrupted." He looked at Gerald Bones Thompson, 56 years old, former federal prosecutor turned club legal advisor. "Bones, what's our play?" Bones stood. "We need more than bank records and photographs. We need witnesses. People Cole has hurt or intimidated. A pattern of corruption that proves these weren't isolated incidents. And we need federal involvement. Local PD will protect their own." "I have a contact," Hawk said quietly. "My brother, Marcus. He's FBI, Phoenix Field Office. We don't talk much, but for DJ, he'll listen. Call him, 8:47 a.m., FBI Phoenix Field Office conference room." Marcus Brooks looked nothing like his brother. Clean cut, suit and tie, federal agent for 14 years. He stared at the photos Wire had printed, then at Emma, then at Hawk. "You rode in here with 200 Hells Angels in the parking lot to show me evidence that a Phoenix police officer is on cartel payroll." "Yes. And your witness is a homeless 19-year-old who happened to have a disposable camera." "Yes. And you expect me to believe this isn't some elaborate setup to embarrass Phoenix PD?" Hawk leaned forward. "Marcus. He beat our son. Told him he'd make him disappear. Threatened to put him in foster care. You know what happened to us in the system. You know what that means." Marcus's jaw tightened. The brothers had been in foster care together before they aged out. Marcus had escaped through the military, then college. Hawk had found family in the club, but they both knew what happened to kids in bad placements. "Let me see the photos again." Wire laid them out. Marcus studied them for a long moment, then pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the Organized Crime Division. If Cole is on cartel payroll, this is federal jurisdiction. He looked at Emma. I'll need your full statement. Everything you saw, heard, photographed. And Ms. Parker, if this goes to trial, you'll be a key witness, which means you'll need protection until Cole is arrested. The club is already protecting her, Hawk said. The club, Marcus said carefully, is not a federal witness protection program. The club is 200 men who will die before they let Cole touch her. Can your agents say the same? The brothers stared at each other. Federal agent and Hell's Angel. Blood brothers who'd chosen different paths but shared the same code. Protect family. We work together on this, Marcus finally said. FBI investigates Cole's cartel connections. You provide witness protection for Emma and DJ. But Hawk, if anyone in your club touches Cole before we build an airtight case, I can't protect you from the consequences. Understood. Then let's destroy this son of a bitch. For the next 6 days, Emma lived at the clubhouse under 24-hour protection. Brothers rotated guard duty. Doc monitored her health. Wire taught her how to secure digital copies of her photos. And Bones collected witnesses. The first was Sarah Chen, 23 years old, pulled over by Cole 18 months ago for suspected DUI. She'd been sober. Cole arrested her anyway, took her to a deserted area, and gave her a choice: sexual favors or jail. I refused, Sarah told Bones and Marcus in the FBI interview room. He arrested me, booked me for DUI and resisting arrest. I spent 2 days in county lockup before my lawyer got the charges dismissed. Breathalyzer showed 0.00 blood alcohol. But Cole filed a report saying I'd attacked him. My word against a decorated cop's. Nobody believed me. Do you have any evidence? Marcus asked. Dashcam footage from his patrol car was corrupted, but I took photos of the bruises where he grabbed me, and I kept the arrest report with his signature. The second witness was James Rivera, 41 years old, owned a mechanic shop. Cole had shaken him down for protection money. He said inspections were coming up, James told them, that he could make sure we passed or make sure we failed, pay $2,000 a month, or lose our business license. I paid for 6 months before I couldn't afford it anymore. When I refused, suddenly we failed every inspection, citations, fines, nearly bankrupted me. You report it? To who? Internal Affairs? Cole's buddies? I'm an immigrant, Agent Brooks. I know how this works. Cops protect cops. The third witness was Marcus's own case file. 3 years of cartel investigations where informants had disappeared or recanted. Witnesses who'd been arrested on suspicious charges right before trials. Evidence that had vanished from lockers. Cole's been cleaning for the Sinaloa cartel for at least 3 years, Marcus told Priest and Hawk on day 5. He provides intel on police operations, warns them about raids, arrests rival dealers on false charges, and eliminates witnesses who get too close. How many witnesses has he eliminated? Priest asked. Eliminated meaning killed? We can prove 2. Martin Reyes disappeared in 2022. Was set to testify about cartel distribution routes. His body was found 3 months later in the desert. Ruled drug deal gone wrong. Except Reyes was an informant trying to get out of the life. And the second? Angela Torres, college student who witnessed a cartel execution in 2023. Cole was assigned to her protective detail. She disappeared before the trial, never found. Emma, listening from across the room, felt ice in her veins. He would have done that to DJ. Yes, Marcus said. If you hadn't photographed the evidence, if DJ had told anyone what he saw, Cole would have made sure he disappeared. Permanently. Then we make sure Cole disappears, Hawk said, into a federal prison. On the morning of the 7th day, Marcus called Priest. We have enough. Arrest warrant is being issued. Charges include corruption, racketeering, assault of a minor, witness tampering, and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. We're bringing him in today. 2 p.m. Phoenix PD headquarters. I want your brothers there." "How many?" Priest asked. "All of them. 200 men in leather standing outside when we walk Cole out in cuffs. That sends a message. This is what happens when you hurt kids. This is what happens when you think you're untouchable." At 1:47 p.m., 200 Hells Angels motorcycles surrounded Phoenix Police Department headquarters, parked in formation. Silent. Waiting. Inside, Officer Derek Cole sat at his desk filing paperwork, same as every day, confident, untouchable, decorated officer with a perfect record. He didn't know that 12 FBI agents were walking through the building's back entrance. He didn't know that his bank records had been subpoenaed. He didn't know that 4 photographs taken by a homeless girl had already destroyed his empire. At 1:53 p.m., Agent Marcus Brooks and 3 other agents walked into the patrol room. "Officer Derek Cole?" Cole looked up, smiled. "Agent Brooks, what can I do for the FBI?" "You can stand up and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest." The smile disappeared. "What?" "Corruption, racketeering, assault of a minor, conspiracy to commit murder. You have the right to remain silent." "This is bullshit! I'm a decorated officer! You can't—" 2 agents grabbed Cole's arms, spun him around, cuffed him. His face scraped against his own desk as they secured him, the same way he'd slammed DJ against that brick wall. Every cop in the room watched, silent, some shocked, some not surprised at all. They walked Cole through the building, past officers who'd worked with him for 12 years, past the Officer of the Year plaque with his name on it, past the DARE program poster with his photo, out the front entrance, into blinding Arizona sun, and 200 Hells Angels stood there in formation, not shouting, not threatening, just present, witnessing. Emma stood between Hawk and Priest, DJ beside his father, both watching as the man who'd tried to silence them was put in the back of a federal vehicle. Cole saw them, his eyes locked on Emma, recognition flickering. "That's her!" he shouted. "That's the homeless junkie who—" "Save it for your lawyer," Marcus said, slamming the door. As the vehicle pulled away, the 200 engines roared to life. Not chasing, just announcing. Justice had been served. But justice wasn't the ending. It was only the beginning. The trial lasted 3 days. Emma testified for 47 minutes on day 2, telling the jury exactly what she'd witnessed in that alley behind Desert Rose truck stop. Defense attorney Bradley Kirkman tried to discredit her. "Ms. Parker, you were living in a dumpster enclosure. You were homeless, desperate. Isn't it possible you fabricated this story for money? For attention?" Emma looked directly at the jury. "I had a $6 disposable camera and 22 exposures left. I used 4 of them to document what I saw. I didn't know DJ. I didn't know his father. I didn't know the Hells Angels would help me. I just knew that if I didn't take those photos, a 13-year-old boy was going to disappear and nobody would ever know what happened to him." The jury deliberated for 93 minutes, guilty on all counts. Judge Sarah Martinez didn't hesitate. "Mr. Cole, you wore a badge. You swore an oath to protect and serve. Instead, you sold your integrity to cartels, targeted innocent citizens, and beat a child to silence him. The court sentences you to 18 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole." Cole's face went white. "This is a setup. That homeless girl is lying. The Hells Angels—" "The Hells Angels," Judge Martinez interrupted, "are the only reason that child is alive. Sit down, Mr. Cole. You're done." Outside the courthouse, Emma stood with Hawk, DJ, and Priest, as reporters swarmed with questions. Wire had already released a statement. Emma wouldn't be giving interviews. But DJ wanted to say something. The 13-year-old stepped forward, healing bruises still visible on his face. "My name is Dylan Brooks. Officer Cole beat me because I witnessed him taking drug money. He told me nobody would believe a biker's kid over a cop. He was right. Nobody would have believed me. But Emma Parker was there. She was homeless. She was invisible. She had every reason to stay hidden and protect herself. Instead, she risked her life to photograph what was happening. She saved me. And now a corrupt cop is going to prison where he belongs." A reporter called out, "What do you want people to know about Emma?" DJ looked at her, smiled. "That she's my hero, and that invisible people aren't invisible. We just stop looking at them." By August, Emma had been living in a one-bedroom apartment in central Phoenix for 6 weeks. Rent paid through December by the Brotherhood Fund. Doc Vasquez had gotten her enrolled in Arizona State University's community college program, photography major, starting in January. Wire had helped her get a part-time job at a local magazine as a photography assistant. But it was the small things that mattered most. Having a refrigerator with actual food in it. Doc had taken her grocery shopping that first week, taught her how to plan meals on a budget, made sure she understood that food wouldn't disappear if she didn't eat it all immediately. Having a bathroom with a shower that worked. No more truck stop sinks. No more washing in public restrooms while people stared. Just privacy and hot water and shampoo that Wire's girlfriend had bought her because everyone deserves to feel clean. Having a bed. A real bed with sheets and pillows and a blanket. Patricia had helped her pick it out. "You've slept on concrete for 5 months. You deserve something soft." Having keys. To her own door. Her own space. Her own life. The nightmares still came. Emma would wake at 3 a.m. thinking she was back in the dumpster enclosure, hearing Cole's footsteps running through that parking lot. But then she'd see her apartment walls, feel the air conditioning, remember she was safe. DJ visited twice a week. He and Emma had become genuine friends, the 13-year-old teaching her how to play video games, Emma teaching him photography basics. Hawk would drop him off, stay for coffee, check that Emma had everything she needed. "You don't have to keep checking on me," Emma said one evening. "Yeah, I do." Hawk sat at her small kitchen table. "You saved my son. That's not a debt that gets paid and forgotten. That's family." "I'm not your family." "Yes, you are. Blood debt doesn't mean we helped you, and now we're even. It means you're ours, for life. You need something. You call. You're struggling, you tell us. You're in danger, we come running. That's what the patch means." Emma touched the small Hell's Angels support pin on her jacket, the one Priest had given her, signifying she was under club protection. "I still don't understand why you'd do all this for me." "Because you did something nobody else did. You chose to act when action was needed. Most people walk past suffering because getting involved is hard. You ran toward it. That's worth everything." In September, Emma testified at a congressional hearing on police corruption. Senator Rebecca Walsh had read about the case, demanded investigation into how many other Derek Coles existed in departments across America. Emma sat at the witness table, cameras recording, politicians listening. She told them about Cole, about the beating, about the system that protects corrupt officers, and about the Hell's Angels who'd done what law enforcement should have done, believed a victim, and fought for justice. "Miss Parker," Senator Walsh asked, "what would you say to other young people who witness injustice but feel powerless to act?" Emma thought about that alley. About 90 seconds to choose. About a $6 camera and 4 photographs. I'd say you're not powerless. You might be scared. You might feel small. But acting when nobody else will, that's not weakness. That's courage. And sometimes courage looks like a disposable camera and refusing to look away. The hearing led to policy changes, new oversight for police departments, mandatory body cameras, independent review boards for corruption investigations. Derek Cole's case became a teaching example. The Cole Protocol, procedures for investigating officers suspected of cartel involvement. Wire compiled the statistics for a report that went viral. Impact of Emma Parker's 4 photographs. 1 corrupt cop arrested, convicted, imprisoned. 18 years, 3-year cartel protection operation exposed $312,000 in illegal payments, traced 7 false arrests overturned. Citizens compensated, 2 murder conspiracies solved. Martin Reyes, Angela Torres. 12 additional witnesses came forward after Cole's arrest. Phoenix PD implemented new anti-corruption measures. FBI opened investigations into 6 other officers with similar patterns. But the number that mattered most to Emma, one 13-year-old boy who was alive and safe because she'd chosen to act. 6 months after that night at Desert Rose truck stop, Emma stood in the magazine office where she now worked full-time. Her photographs lined the walls. Not Arizona sunsets anymore, but portraits, stories. Invisible people made visible. The homeless veteran under the overpass, the single mother working 3 jobs, the foster kid aging out of the system, all of them captured with dignity, with humanity, with the same care Emma wished someone had shown her. Her boss, Marcus Rivera, looked at the latest series. "These are powerful, Emma. You see people others miss." "I was one of those people," she said simply. "For 5 months I was invisible. I know what it feels like." "Not invisible anymore?" "No, not anymore." That evening, the Hells Angels Phoenix chapter held a gathering at the clubhouse. Annual charity ride planning. Emma had been invited, not as a protected witness anymore, but as family. DJ ran up when she arrived. "Emma, I got an A on my photography project, the one you helped me with." "That's amazing!" She hugged him. 6 months ago, this boy had been bleeding in an alley. Now he was thriving, healthy, safe, alive. Hawk approached with a leather vest in his hands. Not a full patch. She wasn't a member, but a custom vest with honorary family embroidered on the back. "From the Brotherhood, you earned this." Emma's eyes filled. "I just took some pictures." "You did more than that." Priest had walked over, 20 brothers with him. "You proved that courage doesn't require size or strength or resources, just the will to act. And Emma, you acted when it mattered most." He placed the vest around her shoulders. The leather was warm, heavy, real. "You're one of us now," Priest said. "Not because of what we did for you, because of what you did for one of ours. Welcome to the family." 200 men in that clubhouse raised their glasses. "To Emma!" She stood there, wearing a vest that said she belonged, surrounded by people who saw her, holding a life she'd built from nothing but 4 photographs and 90 seconds of courage. For 5 months, Emma Grace Parker had been invisible. Society had looked through her like she didn't exist. She'd slept in dumpster enclosures and survived on scraps and believed she was nothing. But she'd been wrong. She hadn't been nothing. She'd been exactly what DJ needed, what Hawk needed, what Phoenix needed. She'd been a witness who refused to stay silent, a girl with a disposable camera and the courage to use it, someone who chose to act when action was needed. And that had changed everything. But this story isn't really about a corrupt cop or a drug cartel or even a dramatic arrest outside a police station. It's about the invisible people walking past you every single day. The homeless girl in the dumpster, the veteran under the bridge, the foster kid with nowhere to go, the single mother choosing between rent and food. They're invisible not because they don't exist, but because we choose not to see them. Emma Parker was invisible for 5 months. Hundreds of people walked past her, looked through her, decided she wasn't worth acknowledging. She was just homeless. Just another statistic. Just someone else's problem. Until one night, she saw a child in danger and made a choice. She could have stayed hidden, could have protected herself, could have decided it wasn't her responsibility. Instead, she raised a $6 camera and took 4 photographs that would destroy a corrupt empire. Because that's what courage actually looks like. Not fearlessness, not strength. Just choosing to act when acting matters, even when you're terrified, even when you have everything to lose. There are Derek Coles everywhere, people in positions of power who abuse it, authority figures who think they're untouchable, predators who count on victims staying silent and witnesses looking away. And there are DJs everywhere, kids in danger, vulnerable people being hurt, victims who need someone, anyone, to believe them and fight for them. But most importantly, there are Emma Parkers everywhere, invisible people who society has decided don't matter, who've been overlooked, dismissed, abandoned by systems that were supposed to protect them. Those invisible people? They're still watching, still witnessing, still capable of extraordinary courage. Emma was homeless, hungry, desperate. She had every reason to protect herself and ignore someone else's suffering. But she didn't. She acted. And that action saved a life, exposed corruption, and proved that the most powerless person in a moment can become the most powerful witness. If you've ever felt invisible, know this: you're not. Someone sees you. Maybe not yet. Maybe not today. But your moment will come, and when it does, you'll have the same choice Emma had. Stay hidden and stay safe, or risk everything for something bigger than yourself. You don't need a brotherhood of 200 bikers to back you up. You don't need a federal agent brother or a club president who believes you. You just need to care enough to act, to pull out your phone and record injustice, to call the hotline when something feels wrong, to believe the person who's trembling while telling you something impossible, to be the one who doesn't walk past. Because the next Emma Parker might be sleeping behind a dumpster in your city right now. The next DJ might be suffering under a corrupt authority figure. The next Derek Cole might be wearing a badge or a suit or a friendly smile while destroying lives. And you, right now reading this, you might be the only witness who can stop it. Emma Parker spent 5 months believing she was nothing. 173 days of being invisible. And then, in 90 seconds, she became the most important person in a 13-year-old boy's life. She didn't plan it, didn't prepare for it, just acted when action was needed. And 200 Hell's Angels proved that sometimes the scariest-looking people in a room have the gentlest hearts. That brotherhood isn't about violence or intimidation. It's about protecting those who can't protect themselves. That blood debt means never leaving anyone behind. If this story moved you, subscribe to Gentle Bikers and share it with someone who needs to remember that invisible people are still watching, still fighting, still capable of changing the world with a single choice. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, and share one time you acted when you could have walked past. Because somewhere right now, There's another Emma sleeping in a dumpster, believing she's invisible. Another DJ in danger from someone who thinks they're untouchable. Another moment where one person's courage could change everything. Be the person who sees the invisible. Be the person who acts when action is needed. Be the person who refuses to walk past suffering. Be someone's Hell's Angels. Emma Parker is 20 years old now. She lives in her apartment in Phoenix. She works as a staff photographer at Arizona Monthly magazine. She's enrolled at ASU starting in January. She has a family in the Hell's Angels Phoenix chapter. She visits DJ every week. They're working on a photography project together about resilience. She keeps that disposable camera on her desk. Empty now. All 22 exposures used. 4 of them changed her life. The rest captured beauty she found in unexpected places. And every morning, Emma wakes up in a real bed, in a safe home, surrounded by people who see her and value her and refuse to let her be invisible again. Not because she was rescued, but because she chose to be the rescuer. That's the truth. That's what happens when someone finally refuses to look away. Subscribe. Share. Speak up. See the invisible people around you. And when the moment comes, and it will come, be the one who acts. Be the one with the camera. Be the one who doesn't walk past. Be someone's 90 seconds of courage.